Greetings and welcome back to Luca Sprues. In today's video we're just going to have a little bit of a look at what's inside the Dragon T-34 model 1943 in 1/72nd scale. So, I've heard some promising things about Dragon. I'm looking forward to having a little look at this one. So, I suppose we'll start with the box. So, you got some decent artwork of just a T-34 driving along in the mud with a little bit of a sunset, so not too surprising there. Got a nice little overview of some of the features of the model kit and kind of how it was constructed, a few little bragging points there. The box art's just repeated there, and we've got some of the photo etching and some of the warnings and details, and nothing on the back there. So we'll open this up and have a little look. We'll begin with the instructions here. So we've got a layout for all of the sprues, and we've got markings for which parts are not used for this particular model. So that's all nice to have a little sprue map there. I'll open the instructions up. So they're the standard kind of fold out sheet, which can be a little bit annoying if you're a bit cramped with your workspace, but you can always fold it over if you need to. So the instructions, they look relatively clear and obvious as to what's going on. There are some stages that are a little bit crowded, but there are some nice little keys here, and the painting guide, which uses Humbrol and I'm not sure what that one is, Model Master. Okay, so number one is Humbrol, and then yeah, okay, so you got your Humbrol and your Model Master colors there, so that's all good. And you got some nice indicators of when you're using photo etched parts, which is nice. So construction looks relatively easy, and yeah, that's all good with that respect. And you've got a couple of different markings here. So you've got one from the Ukrainian front in just the standard green, that's the one on the box. You've got one in some winter camouflage from the Ukraine, 1943. You've got a German captured one in one of the special units they had, and then you've got another fully winterized one, Eastern Front unidentified unit, nice and vague. So that's looking all good there, nothing too enormous to look at there. And first of all, looking inside the contents of the actual box and the parts of the mold, we've got rubber tracks. So I know some people have a bit of a love-hate relationship with these things. I personally don't mind them. There are ways you can fix them down and make them look a little bit more realistic if you put some weight on them in the right way. So for some people that might be a little bit disappointing. And now having a look at the main sprues here, I've had one piece fall off, but I have had this kit actually lying in the loft for a little while. So you've got some pretty nice, very small details there. The hull looks nicely molded. That's an interesting way of doing it. I've seen a few T-34 kits, namely the recent Italeri one and the Airfix one, and they've built it up a little bit differently. So by the looks of things, you've got a lot more options here on opening the tank up, and that could open to a lot of exciting possibilities, like making a repair diorama with the gearbox and engine exposed if you can get a spare set of those. So that's a nice touch. I like the way they've made assembly for this one. And now we've got the lower hull, so it looks relatively well detailed. Bit of a nib there that you're going to have to sand off. They've done some nice interior details there. They've missed out on the springs, but let's be honest, you're not really going to see too much of those unless you've got a wheel missing or anything like that. And they've even done the little bolts on the cases for the final drive, so that looks all quite nice. So I'll move on to the next part. We've got a few small accessories. I saw some weren't used on this particular one, but you could probably mix and match. Just a couple of logs for recovering the tank. And you've got some metal boxes here. The Soviets used these ones on that model of T-34, so that's nice. And then just some rolled up fabric and some pioneering tools. And I think that's an antenna for a radio. So they look all quite nice. Here we've got the turrets. So there's a little bit of flashing if you look on this part, but it's honestly not too bad. I've seen a little bit better, but this is definitely not the worst, and it's easy to clean this stuff up, so not badly done at all. And you've even got a little bit of the breech molded in, so if you're going to have the hatches open, that's quite a nice feature there. So they're definitely better with the detail, I reckon, than other brands. And now we've got a bunch of wheels. So these are all actually single molded pieces, so you've got two wheels molded as one. So so that will make construction a lot quicker. Painting might be a little bit trickier though, but oh well. So we've got the classic kind of rubber wheels there, and then we've got a set for the all steel version, and then the later, I don't know if that's the spiderweb version, they had a few different names, or the starfish one, with the rubber on the later model steel rims. And then you've just got the sprocket and the idler, they look the same. What the hell is wrong with you, Soviet Union? But those all look quite nicely done and pretty easy to put together. And we got some photo etching, which is always nice. The armored panels for the, I don't know exactly what part that is on the tank, whether that's for cooling or I think it might be the air intakes. And we've got some photo etching for the metal grills and grating, and also some of the parts for the toolkits and the various towing hooks on this tank, so that's quite nice. And then we've got our decals. They look to be of pretty good quality, but again, hard to say until you actually put them in the water and slide them on, but I'll get a chance to do that eventually with this one. But yeah, most of the classic Soviet slogans are all in red, so they're for just the Russian winter scheme. That's the only one in the general green, but I think T-34s are more iconic in that kind of winter camouflage. Well, by the looks of things, I would say this is quite a brilliant little kit. It's got some very nice details, and the way it goes together, it definitely lends itself to being used for some very nice dioramas, or if you want to do some interior details, that kind of thing. It's a very promising base for that, or dioramas of a knocked out vehicle with parts missing and the usual Soviet brittle pieces of metal getting flaked in and all of that. It's yeah, definitely good for that. It's a little bit more expensive than the Italeri one, which I would say is pretty equal in terms of detail, but it goes together a little bit differently and doesn't have the photo etching. So the Dragon kit retails at about $35, and the Italeri one you're looking around about $25. Both of these are obviously worlds above the 176 Airfix one, and obviously a different variant of the T-34 as well altogether. So yeah, it's between those two, and I'd say this one offers a bit more detail and a bit more flexibility, but really depending on your budget and what you want to do with it, both of them are brilliant kits. I'm definitely looking forward to having a little build of both of these ones in the future. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like, and if you have any questions, put them down in the comments. A special shout out to my patrons Archie Palmer, Joan Moss, Emo, and J&K Jones for funding this video. Yes, and as my boss so subtly informs, this one was also done in conjunction with Tectonic Hobbies, so be sure to come down and have a little look at our store. We offer the Dragon one, and I guess I'll be ordering in the Italeri one at some point. But if there's any model kits you want specifically, be sure to come up and have a little chat with us. We've got pretty much the wholesale access to Italeri, Revell, Airfix, and a few others through another wholesaler. So yeah, we're happy to help you out with that one. Thank you very much, and until the next one, model on.